Well, hey guys. Hey, it's Randy back here with you again. Hey, listen, I'm sorry. It's been such a long time since I was able to post a video up here for you. Work's just been kind of crazy, and life keeps happening, and the C-Rate project is had to take the back burner a few times, but we have made some progress since the last time I posted. I believe the last time you guys saw anything up there, I was working on the transoms, getting that repair done. A lot has happened since then. A lot has happened. I got into the hull, into the cabin area. I got all of that demoed. Everything is out. All of the bulkheads that the factory had put in there have all been removed. Got into the decks in the cabin area and found just a lot of really rotten wood everywhere. So at this point, I've got all of pretty much all of the cabin flooring, the decking inside, bilge area, all that stuff's been removed. I'm just about down to a bare hull on the inside right now. I'm hoping today to go ahead and finish up the engine compartment, get the rest of that stuff all cut out of there. When I get done here, hopefully this afternoon, we are going to have a very bare, clean canvas to start rebuilding the C-Ray with, which is kind of cool because there's some changes that I wanted to make anyway, but they're certainly going to happen now. So let's see. Okay, yeah, we got all the decking out in the cabin area. I'll show you that here in just a minute. And about a week or so ago, I decided that, boy, it was going to be just too difficult to do the work that I needed to do with the cockpit deck installed. So we broke it out of there. I've got it sitting in my backyard right now. So I've got a very, very open workspace to start to rebuild with. All right, well, tell you what, let's take a quick look inside here. I should kind of show you what I've done so far, what we've gotten done, and then following this, I'm going to go ahead and try to post up some excerpts of some of the video of the work that we've done getting up until this point. I got to tell you that getting those decks out of the interior, out of the inside of the hull, what a bear that was. I mean, the wood, besides being rotten, all of the compartments were full of foam, which is good. But the problem is the factory never really sealed those compartments. So over the years, water was able to migrate into those individual compartments, and the foam was completely soaked and saturated with water, which I think led to the demise of the wood. So you just held the water, the wood rotted. There you go. So anyway, all of that's out. But I'll tell you, getting all that foam out of there, it took me like 3 days to get all the foam and stuff out. So far. A lot of the stuff has been the cabling, has kind of been disconnected, removed out of the way. You'll see that in a second here. But anyway, that's kind of where we're at here right now. Today I'm hoping, like I said, to finish up the engine compartments and get down to a bare hull. And then on my next break, we're going to go ahead and hopefully start cutting stringers. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at here right now. Let's take a quick look and show you the inside of the hull. Show you where we're at right now. Okay, guys. All right. Here's what my hull looks like here so far. This is what we've been able to do over the last probably about a month and a half. Like I said, it's taken a long time to get this done, but as you can see, there's not much left on the inside. We're just about down to a bare hull. This area down here, all right, this is where they had the lab, and they did some really weird stuff with the head that they installed in the boat. You can see from the factory, it looks as though they'd, this was the area of the head, and then this was the galley over here. But somewhere along the line, they had partitioned this off. There was actually a bulkhead right here, and this was the area that the inboard shower would have drained into, and then there was a drain line that went from here around into the little bilge area that we had there about midship. And why they did that, I don't know. And I found all kinds of weird stuff. I mean, when I opened it up, the area that was unused from the factory, they had stuffed full of like styrofoam from, you know, like a cooler. The same thing up in the bow. When I was removing that area up here, I found a bunch of just styrofoam, chunks of styrofoam stuffed down inside there, which was really, really kind of weird. So anyway, the V-berth area here, some of this is coming out. It's going to be out here soon because this, there's the original wood decking runs right up to this point right up here. So we're going to remove that. I'll probably leave this bulkhead or part of this, maybe not, because we've got some bad wood up here. And then I'm going to replace this up here as well. So a lot of this is still coming out, but this would be the V-berth area right here. And you can see I've still got a lot of grinding to do. That used like a PL type adhesive in some areas where they secured the original wood deck that went down here. So this has got to get, these areas have got to get ground down, and we'll get that down to a bare hull. Same thing, I've got a little bit left of the center passageway, center deck here to get removed, so that's coming out this weekend. And then the same thing with the areas in the back. The two decks on either side, they're foam filled, and I can see from the wood that I removed up into that point here, that wood is also rotten, so that's all coming out. And then the two pedestals where the fuel tank sets, which is right across here, just looking at the corners of that, I've just got to assume that, you know, that's rotten wood in there as well, and so I'm going to go ahead. Those are getting cut out to be rebuilt, and the engine mount's also going to get replaced. I don't like the way that they had that set up. I'll try to show you some more of that when we get into it. And then the stern, the rear deck, the rear cockpit deck. They had kind of a funky little arrangement here, the way that it was mounted up here. I'm going to rethink that, rebuild that area. And then these two, you see they've got 2x4s on either side. This is where the deck actually sat on, but as you can kind of see, I mean, they bonded it into the side, they glassed it into the side, then they used just a ton of that, like a PL type cement, to adhere it down there, and then they had a few little screws there that held that rear deck on. And then, but you can see from the underside here, you know, this is still all bare wood. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grind off all this adhesive. We're going to glass these in, tab them in, and actually make them a little bit stronger. You know, I plan to take this thing offshore, so, you know, it's probably going to take a little pounding, and the last thing in the world I want is for the rear deck to come breaking loose from back here. And the same thing in the rear. They had kind of a funny little way that they installed the aft end of the cockpit deck, where they had just like used an awful lot of adhesive right in here, and then tabbed it up. Well, they didn't even really tab it up. They just kind of filled that void in. So, you know, that's going to be rebuilt. These are the hard points here for tie downs. You can see that they didn't even catch the wood that they put in there for that. So, you know, that's coming out. It's going to get rebuilt. Man, I'm telling you guys, just a ton of work in the restoration. But, you know, it's like I said earlier, it's going to be a clean canvas for me to get started with, and I'm really excited about it. Yeah, my wife keeps saying, "Well, aren't you getting depressed with it?" I said, "Well, you know, it's a lot of work, but you know, it's kind of exciting and a little and fun in some ways, you know, because I get to design my own boat here right now. So basically, it's a kind of cool. It's the project has taken a heck of a lot longer than I ever thought it was going to take. You know, from earlier videos, you know, if you guys remember. I'd said that the guy told me a couple of starters and some ring gears, and we'll be good to go. But as you can see, I mean, it's migrated into a heck of a lot more than that, which is okay. It's been almost like an adventure, kind of learning how to do all this stuff. Jay out there in Frisco, man, I'll tell you what, that guy's really been an inspiration, and I really appreciate what he said. He's really kind of gotten his website. He's a Frisco Boater Productions now, and he's gotten really good at these videos, much better than I'll probably ever be. But I just wanted to kind of share with you guys, what's happened and what I'm going through here. It's the whole purpose of it. And I know some of you guys, some of the guys that have subscribing to what I've been posting, have made some suggestions like, why mess with it? Just rebuild the transom, just put a V8 in there, and good to go. Well, that would have been probably a simpler idea. It might have been a lot easier for me, but I plan to take the boat offshore. This is not going to be a lake boat. We live here in San Diego, so it's going offshore. And so I want that second engine. So we're going to rebuild it with the two MCM 165s in there. So I got a pair of 4 cylinders. At least I can get the family home. After a day of fishing, if one of them decides to crap out on me. So that's kind of the reasoning for that. So anyway, so here's the Sea Ray. This is what we're working with right now. And I will try my best to get this thing edited and then try to get it posted up there this weekend sometime. I'm also going to include some excerpts little excerpts of the video that I was able to shoot, getting us up to this point. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll have more to follow. And I promise I will try to get better about getting more regular videos up here. Okay. Hey, well, listen, take care and be safe out there. And hope some of you guys are having a great day out in the water. It's a Saturday afternoon, and so you guys are pushing the throttle, and I'm going to be pushing a Sawzall. All right. Well, see you guys a little bit later. You take care. Well, hey guys. Hey, I'm back with you here for another post on the Sea Ray here. Got some time off, and hoping to get back onto a regular duty schedule here soon, and using this weekend to do a little bit more work on this transom. During the last post, we talked about what I'd found there with the wood, and how I felt like most of the wood in the stern is probably pretty good, except for around the keyholes here, for the outdrives. So let me show you what I've done so far, what I'm continuing to work on here today, and what I hope to get done today. So anyway, here's the keyholes here for the drives, and as you can see, I've already started grinding out some of the wood in here. We don't have to go in very deep. There's some areas it's a little deeper than others, but it's not really all that bad. A lot of the stuff is still pretty solid, except for down here towards the bottom. It seems like from about here, which is just right below the water line, at about the water line or so, down, the wood got a little soft, a little soaked, and it was not in real great condition. So I've already started on the port side here, grinding some of this out. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and mix up some peanut butter, some of that thickened resin, and we're just going to patch this up here. I'm going to grind the rest of this wood out down to, well, as far as down as I need to go until I find good wood, and just fill it, just patch it. This is kind of what it was looking like before we got started. You can see up towards the top, man, and the wood's still real solid. I mean, that looks really good up here. But again, from about here down, you can see it's really soft and just kind of sloughs off there with your fingernail. And you can see right around the bolt holes, there were you know, you can get some areas where the wood is just rotten out. Yeah, so that's we're going to grind that out, and like down in here, that's not real good. We're going to grind that out and replace that with some thickened resin. What I like is the build up, the layup of the transom. You can see right here, this is probably about 3/8 of an inch, 3/8 to 1/2 an inch thick fiberglass. We've got plywood here. You can see we've got another layer of fiberglass that's probably 1/8, almost 1/4 of an inch, you know, maybe 3/16 of an inch there. We've got plywood here, and then on the inboard side of the compartment is another layer of fiberglass, and that looks to be about 1/8 of an inch thick. So fiberglass, plywood, fiberglass, plywood, fiberglass. So, yeah, it's pretty good setup. I like that. But we're going to grind some of this wood out. All right, what I've been using to do the grinding is, you know, you gotta love Harbor Freight. You know, we can get all kinds of cheap tools that work okay there. There's an angled die grinder here with a Roto-Zip bit. It's a carbide bit. It's very coarse. It's you know, almost like a rasp. And it's cutting through this wood really well. You got to be careful not to dig it too deep into the fiberglass, but it works really well. And for the cleanup, there's another little $13 tool from Harbor Freight that I've had for years. And again, using another Roto-Zip bit. This bit was used for, you know, drywall and stuff, and it works really well. This thing works like a dentist tool, you know. And my daughter was saying yesterday, yeah, it's like being a dentist on a boat, and it kind of is. So anyway, that's what I'm using. Those are the tools I'm using here right now. Well, guys, you know, as you can see, I finally got my head out of my butt and put on the right protective gear. I was just getting way too much sawdust in my eyes, and the good old Gorilla Grip gloves. They're working out much better with the die grinder. I decided that the 1/4 inch bit, rasp bit, is probably the most effective for getting this done. And I'm getting fairly aggressive with getting the wood cut out. You know, I'm going to put a nice little bed, about 3/8 of an inch thick, deep, all the way around from about the water line down. And as I'm going through here, it's kind of like being a dentist, I guess. I'm finding some little areas where, you know, like in between the bolt holes, well, there's little soft spots, kind of like a cavity. So, you know, the bit just pushes in. So I'm just augering all that out. So I'm getting fairly aggressive with it, and we're just pressing on with it right now. We're just getting a lot of wood out here. Here, to give you a better idea what the structure looks like. Kind of see here, it's here's my fiberglass layups, and we're just grinding out the wood, the plywood that was kind of soft in between there. And so, making a real nice bed. We're just going to pack that full of thickened resin, you know, with some of the putty. Peanut butter, that's all going to get packed up in there. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do yet, if I'm just going to get some bolts put through there and then pack around it, or if I'm going to fill the whole thing up and then just re-drill the bolt holes. I'll probably, because like these top ones, you can see they elongated these bolt holes for whatever reason. They must have had some problems mounting one of the drives. So I think what I may do is probably just pack the whole thing. You know, I'll tape it, pack it up, and then just re-drill the bolt holes. All right, well, that's it. I keep grinding on it for right now. I'll show you guys a little bit more here once I get the whole thing done. It'll be another half hour, 45 minutes or so, I'm thinking. All right, see you in a bit. Well, hey guys. Hey, I'm back. got home yesterday from a week's worth of duty over there in the Imperial Valley. So back here at home, we've got got some great weather ahead of me for the next few days, and just trying to get some more work done on the sea rake. Excuse me. So last time I was home, I was able to get a little bit of work done on that transom, doing that transom repair. I think I'd showed you that I decided not to replace a lot of wood in the transom, just kind of do a repair right around the keyholes there. So while I was here, this is a number of days ago, anyway, I've got some thickened resin, built up some made up some thickened resin, and started patching in the areas around the keyhole. This is kind of what it looks like. Went in and remember I routed out a lot of the soft wood that was right around the keyholes here, and this has all been filled in now with peanut butter, as Jay calls it, or thickened resin. Made some of my own chopped mat because the stuff that they gave me at the first store I didn't like so much. And that came out pretty good. I wet coated everything inside there, and let it soak into the wood there a little bit, and then I went in, a few hours later with the thickened resin and started packing it all in there. And it came out really pretty nice. I'm pretty happy with it. This is darn solid right now, and so I'm at the point now where I think today I'm going to go ahead and start sanding this down just a little bit. And I've got to clean this area out here because this is where I cut that piece of that test sample out. Going back to see where I had good wood. So I'm going to take some plywood, clean this out, get it nice and smooth down to this fiberglass layer here. Get that all squared up, cut a plug to put in there, and then get that glassed in, and start moving on. Let's see. My brother-in-law came over the weekend here. Started doing a little grinding down here in the engine compartment, which is a huge help. You can see he exposed a couple of little voids here. So yeah, we're gonna finish grinding the engine compartment out, getting it cleaned up, and get ready for some minor repairs and some gel coating. Also, we got the bulkhead. I got this bulkhead out between the aft cabin area here in the engine compartment. As I said in one of my earlier posts, I want to go ahead and, because this wasn't sealed. The engine compartment was not sealed from the cabin. I didn't like that. So we're going to go ahead and, I've got the wood. We're going to go ahead and cut the bulkhead. We're going to put a bulkhead in here all the way across, and we're going to seal this area up, this aft cabin. I don't want any carbon monoxide fumes from the engine compartment drifting into the aft cabin area back here in case I got grandkids, that want to lay down and take a nap, during an outing. So, yeah, we got the carpet out, most of the carpet out anyway, in the aft cabin, and we'll continue to work on that here just a little bit more. After removing the carpet, we noted that these box structures here, some of this plywood, this is all rotten. So all this plywood's coming up. We're gonna replace this decking here, get that reglassed, and just keep grinding, keep cleaning, and see where we're going. So this aft cabin, from here back is probably going to be the big push here for right now. This Saturday I'm hoping to start tearing the engines down, at least one of them, and go from there. So we can get that started. I did run into to an issue during this modification, because remember I'm going from the old MC1 gimbal housing assemblies and outdrives to an Alpha 1 Generation 1 gimbal housing assembly for my drives. So I did run into an issue. I know it's going to be an issue already. Is the exhaust system. So there's going to be some modification that's going to have to take place there. Not quite sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but I've got an idea. The Generation 1 exhaust pipes are different. They're much different than the old MC1 exhaust pipes. So there's going to be a little bit of a mod in there, and I'm not sure if it's going to actually be a machine shop and welding that's going to be able to mod those up, or if I'm just going to take care of the offset. And I'll show you that as we get into it, but there's a big offset in the way those pipes are built. So I'm hoping to be able to get by with just some, maybe changing the exhaust risers and re-plumbing the system. It's either that or I'm going to wind up spending a lot of money and do like a Corsa system and go through whole with the exhaust. But, I really don't want to do that. I'd like to be able to dump all the exhaust out through the drives as it was originally intended. It'll just make the boat a little bit quieter. I don't need a race car sounding boat to, for what I need to do. So anyway, that's kind of where we're at here right now. I'm going to start grinding a little bit more on the on these transoms, keyholes. Let's try to get those cleaned up here just a little bit and move forward. I did come up with another plan here, I think, too, on my forward engine mount. If you remember, I told you this forward engine mount here, the way it was installed in the boat, there's about a 3 to 4 degree offset from here to my reference points. And so what I think I'm going to do right now, I could grind it all out and replace it, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grind all this down to wood and clean this up and see if maybe I can't salvage it, because the wood actually sounds pretty solid. But so if I can level this thing out, if I can do a repair on this rather than do a complete replacement, probably save me a little bit of time. So I'll let you know how that goes. I'm still thinking about that, and as I get more into it, I'll update you. So anyway, that's kind of it for right now. More to follow here. I'll get to grinding here in a minute and sanding, and we'll just keep pressing on. All right, guys. Thanks. I'll be back in a little bit. See ya.